Welcome to our deep dive into a critical issue that often goes overlooked: the consequences of law enforcement ignoring animal cruelty cases. This is Dr. Mark, animal advocate, rescuer, investigative journalist, published author, is here again advocating to the masses that we need to stop animal cruelty. Who can do that? Law enforcement. We need them to do their job. Animal cruelty cases are often treated like low-rent, knockoff crimes. Ignoring animal cruelty isn't just bad for animals, it's bad for all of us. This is about public safety, community well-being, and basic human decency. It's time we recognized animal cruelty for the flashing red siren that it is. Today we'll explore 10 key areas where law enforcement is missing the mark. We'll expose the hidden costs of inaction and the far-reaching consequences. This is going to be rough, get it? Because, animals. Let's address the elephant, or perhaps more accurately, the abused pit bull, in the room, the undeniable link between animal abuse and violence against humans. Not all people who kick a trash can are going to become serial killers, but there's a mountain of evidence showing that animal cruelty is a huge red flag. Studies show a disturbingly high percentage of violent criminals have a history of animal abuse. It's a common thread connecting school shooters, domestic abusers, and serial killers. If you're comfortable inflicting pain on a living creature, that muscle atrophies. Ignoring animal cruelty is like ignoring a giant neon sign that screams, "Potential threat to society over here." Look, we get it. Law enforcement is stretched thin. Ignoring animal cruelty just kicks problems down the road. Every ignored case emboldens the abuser. It sends a message that actions have no consequences, and that sets a terrifying precedent. If someone harms an animal, what's to stop them from escalating? It's not just about the abuser. Failing to protect the vulnerable erodes public trust. It creates a climate of fear and apathy. Addressing animal cruelty sends a powerful message. It shows the justice system takes all victims seriously, and that creates a safer, more just society for everyone. Public trust in law enforcement is crucial. It's the bedrock of a just society. It makes the difference between safety and fear. But trust is fragile, like a house of cards in a hurricane. Ignoring animal cruelty doesn't help. Reporting it makes people vulnerable. They trust the system to take them seriously. Dismissing concerns erodes that trust. It shows a lack of commitment to their duty. Mishandling cases affects the whole community. People wonder if they'll be helped. It's a slippery slope from apathy to hostility. Now let's flip the script. Imagine a world where law enforcement takes animal cruelty seriously. Reports are investigated thoroughly, abusers held accountable, and victims supported. When law enforcement prioritizes animal cruelty cases, it sends a powerful message. It shows commitment to protecting all community members, furry, feathered, and scaled. This fosters trust and cooperation. People are more likely to report crimes and come forward as witnesses. It creates a virtuous cycle where trust breeds cooperation and cooperation breeds results. It's a win-win situation for everyone involved. Let's talk about the moral elephant, or perhaps the morally neglected chihuahua in the room. Ignoring animal cruelty isn't just bad policy, it's a flashing neon sign that says, our sense of right and wrong needs a firmware update. These creatures feel pain, fear, and loneliness, just like us. Yet we have systems that turn a blind eye to their suffering. Protecting the vulnerable should be a fundamental pillar of any just society. Turning away from animal cruelty chips away at compassion and justice. And speaking of laws, let's talk about law enforcement. Failing to enforce laws against animal cruelty undermines the integrity of the entire system. Some laws are taken seriously and some are just suggestions. If we can't uphold the law for the voiceless, what does that say about our commitment to justice? Cruelty, in any form, will not be tolerated. A society that allows suffering to go unpunished neglects its own humanity. Now, some people might argue that animal cruelty is a small-time offense, something that pales in comparison to, say, international art theft or elaborate pyramid schemes involving ostrich eggs. And to them I say, have you ever seen an ostrich? Those eggs are huge. It takes serious criminal dedication to pull that off. But I digress. The point is, dismissing animal cruelty as insignificant is like looking at the tip of an iceberg and declaring, well, that's not very impressive. because what lies beneath the surface of these cases can be truly chilling. Animal abuse is often a red flag, a canary in the coal mine, indicating a whole host of other criminal activities. We're talking about organized crime, drug trafficking, even domestic violence. It's like finding a trail of candy wrappers leading to a secret lair. Sure, the candy wrappers themselves might seem innocuous, but they're a clear sign that something far more sinister is afoot. Think of it like this: if you walked into a suspect's apartment and found blueprints for a bank robbery, you wouldn't just shrug and say, well, at least they're organized. You'd investigate, you'd follow the leads, connect the dots, and potentially uncover a much larger criminal operation. Animal cruelty cases deserve the same level of scrutiny, because by investigating these cases thoroughly, law enforcement can uncover vital information about other crimes and potentially prevent further harm to both animals and humans. It's like finding a coupon for buy one get one free villainy. You've got to assume the second one's coming, and you better be ready. Ignoring animal abuse isn't just about being compassionate towards animals. It's about protecting our communities from all forms of criminal activity. It's about recognizing that cruelty in any form is a threat to the fabric of our society. And frankly, it's about time we started treating it that way. Now I know what you're thinking, this is all very depressing. Is there any hope? Can these animal abusers be saved? And to that I say, well, I'm not a miracle worker, I'm just a guy with a show and a deep-seated fear of geese. But in all seriousness, the answer is a cautious maybe. Because here's the thing. While some individuals who commit acts of animal cruelty might be beyond redemption, and trust me, those folks exist, many others are crying out for help, often in the only way they know how. That's why early intervention and rehabilitation are so crucial. By addressing the root causes of animal abuse, we can help break the cycle of violence and prevent future harm to both animals and humans. It's like teaching someone to put out a fire with, an actual fire extinguisher. Revolutionary, I know. And the good news is, there are programs out there that work. Programs that combine therapy, education, and community support to help individuals understand the impact of their actions and develop healthier coping mechanisms. It's like anger management, but for people who yell at squirrels instead of traffic. Look, I'm not saying it's easy. Rehabilitation takes time, resources, and a lot of patience. But the potential rewards are enormous. Because by investing in rehabilitation, we're not just helping individuals turn their lives around. We're creating a safer, more compassionate world for everyone. Except maybe the squirrels. They've heard it all before. Neglecting animal cruelty isn't just bad for the animals involved, it's bad for everyone. Imagine a neighborhood terrorized by a pack of feral dogs, driven mad by hunger and neglect, or a hoarder's house, overflowing with sick and neglected animals. These aren't just hypothetical situations, they're the result of unchecked animal cruelty. Law enforcement, firefighters, animal control, they end up dealing with the fallout. By addressing animal cruelty early, we can protect both animals and humans. Neglecting animal cruelty is like ignoring a crack in a dam. That crack can grow until the whole dam bursts. This burst can take many forms in community safety, diseases from neglected animals to humans, increase in dog bites and attacks. We're talking about a domino effect here. Address the root cause animal cruelty.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy.
Now, you might be thinking, why should I care about legal precedent when it comes to something as fluffy as animal cruelty? Well, buckle up, because this is where things get legally interesting. You see, every time a case of animal cruelty is ignored or dismissed, it chips away at the foundation of animal protection laws. It's like letting someone get away with jaywalking. Sure, it might seem minor, but if everyone starts doing it, suddenly traffic laws mean nothing. The same principle applies here. Each instance of unchecked animal cruelty sets a dangerous precedent, signaling to abusers that their actions have no consequences. This lack of enforcement weakens the legal system's ability to protect animals in the long run. It's like trying to win a football game by only using your punter. You might get a few good kicks in, but eventually the other team's going to catch on and run circles around you. We need a strong offense, people, and that means enforcing the laws we have. Strong legal precedent sends a clear message. Animal cruelty will not be tolerated. It acts as a deterrent, discouraging potential abusers from acting on their impulses. It tells them that society recognizes the seriousness of their actions and is prepared to hold them accountable. But when we fail to prosecute these cases, we're essentially sending the opposite message. We're telling abusers that they can get away with it, that their cruelty will be met with a collective shrug. And that, my friends, is a slippery slope towards a society where animal abuse becomes normalized and accepted. It's time to stop treating animal cruelty like a parking ticket. It's time to start treating it like the serious crime that it is. By strengthening legal precedent, by holding abusers accountable, we can create a future where animal cruelty is not just illegal, but unthinkable. Now, let's talk about a deeply disturbing and often overlooked aspect of animal cruelty: its connection to domestic violence. You see, in many cases, animals in abusive households aren't just silent witnesses to violence, they're victims themselves. Abusers often use pets as pawns to control and manipulate their partners. They might threaten to harm or kill the pet, or they might actually abuse the animal in front of their partner as a form of psychological torture. It's a truly horrific tactic designed to instill fear and maintain power. And here's the truly heartbreaking part. Many victims of domestic violence are terrified to leave their abusers because they fear for their pets' safety. They're trapped in a horrifying catch-22, forced to choose between their own well-being and the safety of their beloved animals. This is where recognizing and addressing animal cruelty can be a literal lifeline for domestic violence victims. When law enforcement understands the link between animal abuse and domestic violence, they can better identify and intervene in these dangerous situations. By taking animal cruelty seriously, we're not just protecting animals, we're potentially saving human lives. It's about recognizing the signs, asking the right questions, and understanding that animal abuse is often a chilling indicator of a much larger problem. We need to create a system where victims of domestic violence feel safe reporting animal abuse, knowing that their concerns will be taken seriously and that both they and their pets will be protected. Remember, helping animals is often the first step in helping people escape dangerous situations. All right, let's talk about education. And no, I don't mean forcing a dog to learn algebra, although that wouldn't be the worst idea for a reality show. So, Fluffy, if X equals treat, how many treats do you get if I have 2X? We're talking about the missed opportunity to educate the public when animal abuse is ignored. Prosecuting these cases sends a message, a very loud message, that animal cruelty is not something society takes lightly. It's like putting a big, flashing neon sign that says, "Hey, hurting a defenseless creature? Yeah, that's messed up, pal." But when these cases are swept under the rug, it sends a dangerous message. That animal abuse is something we tolerate, something we deem less important. And that, my friends, is a slippery slope. Think of it like this. If you see someone littering in a park and they get away with it, what message does that send? It normalizes that behavior, but if they get a ticket, it reinforces the idea that littering is wrong. Same goes for animal cruelty. Enforcement is a form of education. It's a practical lesson in empathy, a societal reminder that cruelty has consequences. And that's not just for the offenders, but for everyone watching. We're talking about integrating animal welfare education into community programs, schools, and even law enforcement training. Let's teach people about responsible pet ownership, about recognizing the signs of abuse, about the link between animal cruelty and other forms of violence, because knowledge, as they say, is power. And in this case, it's the power to prevent cruelty, to foster compassion, and to build a society that values the well-being of all its members, even those with 4 legs and a penchant for licking themselves in public. Now, let's talk about something a little uncomfortable, shall we? The mental state of individuals who abuse animals. Look, I'm not a psychologist, though I do enjoy diagnosing my friends' dreams after one too many Negronis. But even I can tell you that animal abuse isn't just some random act of jerkosity. It's often a symptom of deeper issues, a giant hairy red flag waving in the wind. And ignoring it is like ignoring a ticking time bomb in a clown car, a very disturbing clown car. Studies have shown a strong correlation between animal abuse and other forms of violence, including domestic abuse, child abuse, and even serial killing. Yeah, you heard that right, serial killing. Turns out those collect butterflies bios on dating apps are actually red flags disguised as hobbies. I want to intervene here. As a longtime animal advocate, I have seen many times how law enforcement has truly neglected animal abuse. And unless we get involved, I doubt this will change. And here's the thing, when we ignore animal abuse, we're not just failing the animals, we're potentially failing future human victims as well. It's like seeing a car about to drive off a cliff and saying, well, their insurance is probably paid up. Addressing animal cruelty offers a unique opportunity for early intervention. By recognizing the warning signs and providing appropriate mental health resources, we can potentially prevent future acts of violence against both animals and humans. It's about breaking the cycle of violence, folks. It's about understanding that cruelty, in any form, is a cry for help, a twisted plea for attention. And sometimes, the best way to prevent future harm is to offer a helping hand instead of a blind eye. So there you have it, the often overlooked, tragically under-prosecuted world of animal abuse. And look, we as a society have to get involved. Law enforcement, in my opinion, has not a clue as to why animal abuse should be treated as a high priority. They are either ignorant of the fact, incompetent, or just don't care. In my work as an animal advocate, it is a little bit of all three. This has to stop. It's more like existential dread with a side of kibble. But by understanding these missed opportunities, law enforcement can begin to recognize the full scope of what's at stake when they neglect animal abuse cases. It's not just about Fluffy or Fido, it's about the safety and well-being of entire communities. A comprehensive approach to justice must include protecting animals and holding abusers accountable, which in turn strengthens community safety, public trust, and the moral integrity of society. Because a society that tolerates cruelty towards animals is a society that's one spilled glass of water away from a full-blown meltdown. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. And remember, if you see something, say something. One more very important point I must bring out again. When you suspect animal abuse or neglect, call law enforcement. It is their job to investigate. It is their job to protect our community, people, and animals. You will not be faulted for calling. Remember, animals are voiceless. You are their voice.